Welcome back, everybody. It's Norcross, Eggy, Kellner, and Buckley in the house. Second half has begun. You've missed no important goals on being goals. Only goals in the FA Cup. We don't care about that in the Scottish League, which isn't actually football. It's amazing that competition still continues.
Shall we just all have a look to see which card we've got the most on with our cards?
Yeah.
Martin, which one of your cards is doing best?
Well,
and remember,
really,
Bingos players and Bingos fans, if you get a full house at any time now, you will win. So even if you miss a work, I've got blimey. I should have been paying more attention. I'm only 3 away from a full house.
Oh, what?
I need Boreham Wood to score. Shrewsbury.
In your dreams, Shrewsbury are crap.
I remember when they beat Chelsea 7-0. Derby County. That was a bad day for Chelsea. So that's my best one. Is anyone? What's your best card? Which one have you got most off on?
Well, I'm still missing Oxford United.
Yeah.
I can't read these. Stoke City, Forest Green, Barnsley, Gillingham, Blackpool, Halifax Town, and Charlton Athletic. I've only actually managed to achieve goals in 7 of my 15 games.
But have you only got one card? You want to buy 5 cards?
Well, I should buy 5, shouldn't I?
Yeah, then you get a lot more fun.
Yeah.
It's all
I've
about.
only got one. I've got
Martin,
one card.
how many cards have you got, Martin? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh no, I haven't got them. That's because I haven't
Well,
got my
I can hear
headphones
you.
on.
Yes.
Get the headphones on,
Yes.
well.
We can hear you, Martin. Yes.
Excellent. Well, I'm just waiting for Peterborough, Bromley, Hartlepool United, Oldham Athletic, Ebbsfleet United, Burton Albion, Forest Green, Eastleigh, Bradford City, Dagenham and Redbridge to score, and then I've got a full card. I've only got the one card.
Right. You're a fair way off. How about you?
I'm trundling along quite nicely. I'm waiting for Woking.
Woking have scored.
Woking have scored. You said Woking, and it happened like that. Unbelievable, Jeff.
It's like he's here, and it's pulsing. It's pulsing on my card. Look at it, a Woking goal.
Yeah, pulse.
So what do you need now? Now that you've got Woking, you're virtually there.
So now I need Shrewsbury, Gillingham.
We both need Shrewsbury, Jeff. We're going for Shrewsbury. Come on, you Shrews.
Or is it Shrewsbury?
I don't know. It's somewhere way out west, isn't it?
At my school, it was Shrewsbury.
Was it Shrewsbury?
Shrewsbury, Gillingham, Derby County, Morecambe. My Stockport's pulsing.
Paddy Madden's gone mental. He's got another.
Bromley and Peterborough. So come on the posh.
Right. So we're all still a little bit of a way off. But Buckley, unsurprisingly, the CEO of this organisation, has managed to get himself the card that is most likely to win.
I've always thought this is a bad thing to say.
I prefer founder to CEO.
Bingos might be fixed.
Your dad used to think that about snooker, and I think he may have been right.
He was right. 82. He was right. He called that.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I mean, we're
Cheltenham have scored. Liam Sercombe.
Keep going.
Cheltenham. Yeah.
Liam Sercombe sized up the goal and smashed it into the back of the net.
Yeah. Very, very good. Rather good. Yeah, very. That's by Terry Thomas. Very, very good.
Shower. Absolute bloody shower.
Show Silvers.
I wanted to talk, though, because we've got... Again, this is just observatory.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm here to be educated. And there are 3 people around this table who know a lot about their football. Mm-hmm. And as I was pootling about the other day...
Evans playing for Stockport. Lemonhay.
Lemonhay Evans, eh?
Lemonhay Evans, what a name.
Discovered that this man called Klopp, who looks a bit like Richard Branson...
Oh, he does.
He can't go on being manager. But it's of Liverpool. So I think what's happened is... Has he got burnout through performative lachrymosity? Because 9 years of being coach of Liverpool, I think I'm right in saying, Martin, that in the 1998-99 season, Liverpool wore black armbands for 12 of their 19 league home games that season. I mean, this don't forget, was the club.
This was at the beginning of the Liverpudlification of society.
That's right. You remember that this was a club that came to a complete standstill when apparently lifelong fan, even though he'd never visited Liverpool from the age of 18, Ken Bigley.
Ken Bigley?
Ken Bigley had his head cut off by Iraqi terrorists.
Oh, right.
And he was out in Iraq building a bridge for about £14 million or something.
Oh, literally rather than metaphorically.
Literally, yes. He was an engineer. And he got killed. And Liverpool came to a standstill because, one of their own had come to such a terrible grief. And it reminded me of my favourite Vox Pop that I think I've ever had the misfortune to listen to. Vox Pops being, I have to say, my least liked form of radio entertainment.
Yes.
So, on the day that George Harrison died, some poor hapless reporter was sent to Liverpool to test the temperature of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes around, and there are two examples I'm going to give you, because they both sum up Liverpool perfectly for me. Said, you would have heard George Harrison has died. Can you tell me, what do you think he'll be best remembered for? And then
being in the Beatles, possibly.
Who are the Beatles?
well, do you know, funnily enough, Martin, the responder made this noise, like the noise of like a very, very, very shrill whistle, which a lot of Scousers can do, you know. I'd have to say,
Muted by the pebble dash all around him.
I'd have to say the music, which I thought was the most magnificently freighted pomposity for the most inane answer I'd ever heard in my life.
But what about the Parky interview?
Well, you know, I mean, or the fact that he was, you know, a joint shareholder of Handmade Films.
He was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably a more
Yeah.
talented outfit, Handmade Films, than the Beatles.
Could say that. And then the second one, he tried a different tack. He said, said to this person, you will have heard, of course, the terrible news that George Harrison has died. Can I get your reaction? And this person just took a beat and went, I've got to say, it's another bitter blow for the people of Liverpool. which has now become in my WhatsApp group, of my football WhatsApp group, whenever Liverpool concede a goal, the person who can get quickest to, it's another bitter blow for the people of Liverpool.
Jay Klopp leaving must be another bitter.
Eggy,
No, Martin, can we have Eggy first, please?
Just because I want to take something full circle. That would be Maidenhead's George Harrison, because that's where he lived.
Very good. Circularity.
And secondly, there's a slight irony, despite the unfortunate Ken Bigley, that the most evil bunch of beheading terrorists were known as the Beatles.
Oh, of course they were.
Yes.
They were.
Yes.
They were.
Well, that's
weren't
what their
they?
music
Yeah.
could do to you, apparently.
Can I tell you?
Yes, tell us a story, Martin.
Up to the minute. It's not a fucking story.
Language.
It's an up to the minute observation. Will. I'm trying to work out why you invite me along to this, but it's up to the minute.
I owe you one.
we
After
were
I was
saying-
your second banana on Radio 5. Remember the big arse?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I didn't get a word in edgeways there either.
I mentioned the big ass. Yeah, that's because we had funny people on, Will. Do you remember we had Rod Liddle on?
We did. We
And,
had John Ronson.
And
We had me,
so-
and then we had this host who kept playing jingles.
Yeah. So anyway, Liverpool. You mentioned Liverpool, and obviously Klopp has gone, and Sky Sports yesterday completely cleared all the decks for about 12 hours.
Papal
while they
death.
talked about nothing but Klopp.
Nothing but Klopp. Great name for a band right there.
Absolutely, nothing but Klopp.
John Peel would love it.
Alan Irwin, who's Sky Sports' man on Merseyside, without a word of a lie, Alan Irwin said, he was doing a little voicer, and he said,
Blackwood
as I
scored.
drove into the city, I could feel a sense of disbelief. Now, I mean, I've driven sort
Wow.
of electric
Wow.
cars, and I felt a sense of disbelief in the car.
That your
But he
hubcaps were
could
still there. So
He could actually sense disbelief. And I mentioned this on Talk Sport in the afternoon, and I got what they on Talk Sport call pelters. People in Liverpool do not like it if you appear.
No.
I mean, you're all right if you are a Liverpudlian and you're taking the piss slightly, but they do not like it. If any of they're very chippy about, and we know Boris Johnson, when he was editor of the Spectator.
You're absolutely right,
or
Martin.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like, quite understandably, how, as a general rule, it's not a good idea to tell Jewish jokes unless you're Jewish.
But can I just interrupt?
And which is why I had to pretend all the way through university that I was Jewish, because my Jewish hairdresser had told me an absolutely sensational joke.
Can we hear it?
I can't remember it,
Oh.
but I told
Oh,
the joke.
shame.
I told the joke, and then suddenly looked across, and this lad Daniel Oppenheimer, who was wearing a skull cap, looked at me with absolute daggers.
Yeah.
And so
What
I
was the
said,
joke?
I can't remember, but it's something to do with St. Peter. So I said, well, you know, only us from the tribe can tell these jokes. And suddenly, he laughed at the joke, thought it was hilarious, and then I had to pretend to be Jewish for the next 5 years
The
at
rest of your
university.
life.
Yeah. No.
See also George Carman, the barrister, but that's a very long anecdote, so I won't go
Yeah.
into that.
So I want to go back to Liverpool though, Martin, and to the assembled throng, because what normally happens when Liverpool lose a manager is that they go straight to the boot room, because only people in the boot room understand the
But I
DNA
don't
of
think
this
boot
football
rooms
club.
exist anymore,
They-
Dave.
oh no, the boot room.
The boot room.
So Sammy Lee, Joe Fagan,
Yeah.
Bob Paisley
came from the boot room.
all these people from the sainted boot room. Now, I've got to say, I don't know what's left. The boot room is empty, apart from the man with the lowest hairline in football. It's got to be the bat signal's got to go up. The liver bird has got to be shone into the night sky, and they've got to call for Steven Gerrard.
Oh, Gerrard.
Because I think he's the only man who understands the DNA of that club. And it is, as we know, a football club.
Yeah,
And
it's
unlike
more than a
unlike
football
all
club.
others, unlike all other football
It's a
clubs,
religion.
it is a football club. And if you don't understand the football club, you can't even begin to be the manager of that football club, because you've got to know it from top to toe. And the only man out there, I think, who can do the job has got to be Steven Gerrard, hasn't it?
Well,
Correct.
Eric is going to say
Completely
something.
correct.
I have two questions for you.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. Okay.
I do wonder. Obviously, you make a very good point about the boot room, but was the only qualification to be in the boot room was to wear an Admiral tracksuit
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
correct.
Yeah, yeah.
With tapering trousers.
It was an
and stirrups on the thing. So if you had the Ronnie Moran,
Ronnie Moran,
had a
good
fucking
call.
Admiral tracksuit.
Yeah.
Tracksuit,
Do you think that
yeah.
did Admiral sponsor the boot room?
I think it was brought to you by
By-
Admiral,
yeah.
in association with.
Because
Okay.
when Joe Fagan was made
Can I ask
manager,
you a
it was
question?
honestly like papal smoke had gone up over
Just quickly, some
Hayfield.
goals going. Shrewsbury have
Anfield,
scored.
sorry.
Shrewsbury have scored. I need Shrewsbury. Hang on.
You do need Shrewsbury, well done. Aldershot have scored
Can I
again.
ask you a
Yeah.
question, you three?
You can give it a go.
Which Premiership team do Liverpool hate above all others?
Well, surely it's Manchester
United,
United.
surely. Man
Surely.
United.
Is it Tranmere Rovers? Is it? Well, it's not Everton.
Because
It's
Will
Chelsea,
because
it's
Will asked the
Chelsea
question,
and
it's Chelsea.
Manchester United.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I meet this Marine before Christmas, and it's close to chuck-out time. And he's 6'4" and he's a bit tasty and he's drunk. Right?
Was he called Camouflage?
I
'Cause
don't
he
know.
was a big Marine.
He was a big Marine. He may have been camouflage. Probably a friend of camouflage. Where did camouflage come from? Anyhow, I
was a great song.
stayed 2 tables away from him because I thought he could kick off at any time. Yeah. And it is Chelsea that's the answer. But can you now tell me, for extra points, it's University Challenge, why Liverpool and Chelsea hate each other so much? Because it's completely visceral and it's completely shared.
I genuinely have no idea. I didn't
Think
know.
about it. Think about it.
Because they see Chelsea as a bunch of southern wankers. Is that the reason?
Ah,
Is it because of the lyrics of the song?
I don't want to
They
go
come,
to Chelsea.
something to do with the song.
Derby
He
have
looked-
scored. Max Bird. He sounds like
Yeah.
a good bloke, Max Bird. You go out on a Saturday night with Max Bird.
It's Elvis Costello's song, isn't it? I don't want to go to Chelsea.
No, it is about music. I know. I just listen to classical music, but you have mentioned the reason. I think since
Is
half
it-
time.
Is it he looks in the dustbin for something to eat? He
No,
finds
no.
a dead cat. Is it that song?
No, but that is based on something else. What divides Chelsea and Liverpool? And it goes back to the 60s.
it's
and
not Ho Chi
still
Minh
there.
again, is it?
No, it's not Ho Chi. It's not the ferryman. Who pays the ferryman? Was it
Goes
called?
back to the 60s.
No, you don't pay the ferry.
You don't pay the ferryman, particularly if it's Ho Chi Minh.
Or particularly in Liverpool because you can't afford to.
Yeah.
Hunt, Roger Hunt, anything to do with Roger
No,
Hunt?
it's cultural. It's cultural. You've been talking about.
Oh, 60s? Cultural?
Is it
in Liverpool?
political? Political?
Oxford?
No.
Yes.
Oxford have scored. Oxford United. Mark Harris. That's a nondescript name.
Did Liverpool have culture in the 60s?
Well, you've been talking about it. It's
The
musical.
Beatles?
And
Beatles?
the Beatles v who?
Oh, the Stones.
Absolutely. It's that deep a thing. Remember, you're always a Beatles man or Stones man, like you're a rock man or a bellow man, yeah?
Yeah.
So the Beatles were, hey, we're the people, we're the men of the people. I can't do a Liverpool
Can't
thing.
you say if you're a Roth
No.
man or a Marlborough man?
No, that was a
Roth man
joke.
or a Bellum man.
That's a joke. It was a Clive James joke. Occasionally, he got it right occasionally. So, Beatles with the Stones. Beatles, but we're the people's band. I
Why
can't do
are
acts.
they?
I don't know. It's
Why,
Northern.
aye.
Dreadful Geordie
Okay, it's
hybrid.
okay. And they also had quite ugly.
Right.
They had ugly girlfriends, where the Stones were Chelsea drugstore, flash the cash, Marianne Faithfull, cool girlfriends. They were in performance
Phil.
while the Beatles
Bollocks.
were.
Every second of that was bollocks.
It's
Phil.
true. You
Don't mind me saying.
you tell it to the
With
Marines.
respect,
You tell it
with
to the Marines,
respect.
Martin.
And I still say Manchester United is the most hated
No,
club by
no,
Liverpool.
no.
rather
Go
than
and
Chelsea.
do a vox
I mean,
pop. You've got time on your hands.
Okay, so we're here in Liverpool, and I just want to ask you, which team is the most hated? I'd have to say Chelsea. I don't think I'd be staggered if that was the
Has
answer.
Sean Welsh, a
I'd be
comedian,
staggered as well.
Sean Welsh, a comedian's been sent off for second book of offence, playing for Queen's Park.
Yeah, well, that'll learn him.
And Stockport are having a hell of an afternoon. 5-0.
I mean, it comes as no surprise, though, Martin.
It's
does
a
it?
Mersey
It comes
water.
as no surprise because I think you've got to give them their full name. High Flying Stockport have been the revelation of this season, and they are actually the only side in all 4 divisions that I break my rule for. I do bet on Stockport because they are, I've got to say, would it be fair to say, head and shoulders ahead of the opposition. They are head,
totally
in fact,
right. I
heads
just
and
wanted
shoulders.
To say they're beating Doncaster 5-0, so I'd just like to say, Ed Miliband, your boys are taking a hell of a beating.
Do you remember? You remember the
And is it
lovely
only Ed Miliband? There's no one else you can remember in
Martin?
Doncaster.
Martin, you remember the lovely
There's
Mike?
another one, a Labour MP. I
The
think.
entire
remember that-
Doncaster Bells.
Do you remember the ponytails? Do you remember a lovely? You know Mike Holt, lovely man, yeah.
Yes.
He came to watch Stockport play Norwich.
Oh, he supports them, doesn't he?
He does, and that was at the peak of Stockport. Gateshead have scored everyone, Luke Hannant, and I can't remember if it was Champo or Div 1 or whatever, yeah. And that was it. They've never been as high as that, yeah. And actually, they had Stockport had playing for one of the most talented players I've ever seen, but he was only about 5'4", and he suffered from alopecia.
Oh,
I wonder what happened to him. Someone's called.
Yeah.
I think the full house is gone, but don't worry, Bingals fans. You can still get a full house at any time. Let's see who's won it. Hang on.
youngest bald striker for England. Who are you going to go with? Because I'm reminded of this because in cricket circles, there's a fellow called Lloyd Pope who took England down in the Under-19 Cricket World Cup about 5 years ago, and he had stacks of hair. And I saw him again for the first time on telly the other day, and he was bald as a coot. So, and the same goes for Ashton Agar. He got very bald by about the age of 24.
He did,
Who's-
yeah. He was the 99 not out or out man
That's
in
right.
that Test match, and then suddenly
was out.
he's just a Perth scorcher
Can
for
we just
Liverpool.
That's right, but he was also clearly stumped when he was on about 30 odd, and it wasn't given by the third umpire. I was outrageous.
Can we just have a big shout out to Brizza98, BRIZZA? He's won the full house. I'm assuming it's a man, Brizza. Maybe it's a woman.
Why are you assuming that?
I don't know.
You see, I think you need to
£100.
have some unconscious bias training,
I
like all the
possibly
other
do.
freelancers at the BBC are now
Gateshead
being
have
called
scored.
into.
Bingals fans. Gateshead have scored. Luke, I've said that.
You said
before.
that.
Yeah.
There haven't been very many goals of late. Don't
No.
worry, you're not missing anything. And if you were missing something, you wouldn't know.
Do you think he's having a good day? But he's probably from Bristol, and Bristol Rovers are
Yes,
winning.
yes, it is.
He's a Brizza.
And if he's from Bristol, he'd
It
be a
could be Bristol
Rovers
City,
fan,
of
not a
course.
City. No, I think it's like Everton in Liverpool in that place.
But
that
didn't Bristol Rovers, didn't they play in Bath for years before moving
they
to
did.
Bristol?
They
It all went
yeah.
a bit awry for Bristol Rovers, didn't it?
It
They
did.
played on the rugby ground. They played
That's right.
Horfield, just near where Bristol Rugby Union played.
Is that right?
Yeah. They just,
But they
I
breed-
used to-
they
I used
played-
to live there. It's down the road from me.
At Twerton Park. No, they played at
Twerton for a while,
Park,
yeah. And I think that, and they played in Bath. Was Twerton Park, is that Bath's rugby ground? Or did it
No,
used to
that's
be?
the Wreck. I think Twerton Park is Bath City.
Bath City, yeah.
God, there's a I can't say Bath. There's a Bath City as well. I can't say Bath. I can't do it. I can't physically do it. I can't say grass.
You couldn't run a
can't
bath.
do it.
You couldn't run a bath. You couldn't run a bath,
I
Daniel.
can't do it. It's like I'm not allowed to use the word TOILET.
I use toilet all the time.
But it's
I mean, why is that? But you're behind.
Because I was
the
brought
game.
up by a snob.
No, but the snobs have moved on. I can tell you all about it.
But was that you being Northern? I use toilet all the time. I go toilet, or was that you just saying I use the toilet? I use the word
both.
toilet.
No, both senses. I use the word toilet. You've got great trainers on, Dan.
Aren't they?
No,
Absolutely
what are they? I
sensational.
need to
Yeah,
buy
they're
some
Merrills.
trainers.
And
Merrills.
Merrills, if you're listening, they're getting a little bit shabby. I've had them now for about 9 months. These have been the comfiest. If you're watching,
How much are
anybody,
they?
These are comfiest trainers I've ever had. I can't recommend Merrell's highly enough. They're multicoloured. They're absolutely
Charlie
delicious.
Carter scored for talking.
They look comfortable, but I think they disguise a multitude of bunions somehow. Somebody tells me they're prescription.
I'm not sure
My
if your
feet are a
trainer's
bloody mess.
I'm not sure if your trainer's sock action's working. So it's bold
What?
on bold and
Talking
bold.
about?
There's no contrast. They're both bold.
No, I've got a red, blue, and the green is just like hinting. I've got a little green dot there that hints at the other green. I don't think you really understand how colours are supposed to work together, Buckley. This is all about
No
subtlety.
surnames
It's
here.
subtlety and nuance is what's going on here.
Two things. Yes. I'll work on them.
I need some more wine. If I just call for it, will it come, do you think?
Well, you can whistle for wine.
Hello, good people. I demand to have some
I'm not
booze.
sure anyone's listening.
Having a snooze. Oxford City have scored.
Yeah. And Steve Seddon's got
Yes,
sent
it
off.
worked. This is amazing.
From Burton.
Would you mind?
Who coincidentally Burton menswear is the sheepskin coat I'm wearing is a Burton.
So would you like it? So you're trying to get
Burton's
Burton?
doesn't exist anymore.
No,
Burton's
look,
became
you
Topshop and
you
now
can
it's
see it.
something else.
You can see it, Martin. This is from the 60s. The woman in the charity shop selling it to me said it made me look like Roger Moore.
Do you know, Roger Moore's the subject of the only time I was genuinely starstruck. I was eating lunch in Dubrovnik late at 2:45 because we wandered around. It's
In
very
the
beautiful,
morning?
beautiful city.
In the
beautiful,
morning?
beautiful city. No, in the afternoon.
But we always meet for
And
lunch at 2:45. That's not late.
I'd
for
gone in to eat, and this place was completely empty. And my wife always sits looking in, and I have to just look at her and a wall. You know, that's the usual standard thing. I'm sure we all do that. And we play this kind of game. We play this kind of game where we'll say something like, "Oh, over there in the corner is a bloke who looks like the exact cross between Eugene Terreblanche and Ai Weiwei, for example." Or over there is a young what's her face, Joanna Lumley. Anyway, I sit down.
I know.
And we start to get our food in, and suddenly my wife turns to me and she goes, "Over your right shoulder is Roger Moore." So I said, "A young Roger Moore or an old Roger Moore?" And she said, "The Roger Moore." And I turned round, and blow me down with a series of feathers, if Roger Moore hadn't come in with Barbara Broccoli and a bunch of annoyingly bronzed 40-year-old tennis coaches who are clearly all manning his yacht, and sat mob-handed, about 10 of them,
Doncaster
and
scored. Harrison Biggins.
I actually couldn't bring myself to speak to him because I was so in awe of Roger Moore.
Do we think Harrison Biggins, who scored for Doncaster, has any relation to Christopher Biggins?
I think actually, yes, he's his son.
I see you're Roger Moore.
Okay.
I'm going to raise you.
Oh, it's gone poker. Fantastic.
Is it sure? Because there's only one thing bigger.
Aged, I would have said 12, in a restaurant called Rosemary's in Sardinia on the Costa Smeralda. A woman, not very large, but demanded to squeeze past the chow I was in, sitting on holiday with my
Miriam
parents.
Margulies. No?
Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey,
fuck it.
She's very slight.
I know, and she asked me to move in.
Yeah,
Really?
you were quite tubby at that age.
I mean, she could have just floated past.
Exactly,
surely,
she
couldn't
didn't eat. She didn't do anything.
No.
But Audrey Hepburn. So I think.
What were you expecting her to do, Jeffrey? You're 12.
Well, not just phone up and say, "Give me your number." I mean, I was just saying people you've sat next to in a
Yeah,
restaurant.
but
Anyway,
were you in awe? Were
Martin,
you in awe of her though?
In
Wickham
Wakefield's
have scored.
finest eatery,
Yes.
The Curry House.
celebrity customer, name drop on a level that we just have.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant!
Yes.
In full ape makeup.
No, not like that. But so Helena Bonham Carter. There was another one.
You like to
They were-
stay low profile in Wakefield, I tell you. You don't want to
Yeah.
draw attention to yourself in Wakefield. Not with those prisoners' wives and Martin on a night out.
Yeah.
Stalking Chris
there was-
Kamara.
I'm trying to remember the name of the thing they were filming, but we have a very old church just near us, and from time to time they do. Oh, I'll tell you who.
It's Harry Potter,
John
wasn't it?
John Malkovich. They have done
Being
scenes
John
of,
Malkovich.
yeah, John Malkovich.
Yeah.
They filmed. He was in a TV thing. Oh God, I wish I could remember the title of it.
What, an advert?
It was called something like the Suspicious Mr. Witches, or that sort
Oh,
of
yes,
thing.
that rings a bell, yeah.
I've read that book, all about a murder case, murder trial in the 19th
By the way,
century.
Wendy Craig has put Maidenhead 2-1 up.
She's doing well.
She's at her age too.
Oh, tree, oh,
Do you-
wall, bloody hell. That
You
was a
mentioned
tedious
Joanna
programme.
Lumley.
Yeah.
Can you guess the name of? Well,
I
maybe
didn't
I
invent
shouldn't do this.
Joanna
Could be
Lumley.
No, I personally know the father of her love child.
This is not slanderous, no?
Well, actually, I'm not going to go there, but I just. I'm just going to cut with the funniest line. One of the funniest lines Jeffrey came up with, because you used to come and visit me at college quite a lot, because you had time on your hands, Jeffrey. Do you want to tell it? Quite a serious. Yeah.
Is this when somebody asked me what I was reading?
Yeah.
I was due to family circumstances. I spent quite a lot of time on Will's floor at Girton College, Cambridge,
Yeah.
because I had nothing else going
Big
on.
floors, big corridors.
And no one to be at home with. And so somebody, due to death, somebody once asked me, a girl I think who's now married to someone quite
Yes.
successful,
Yes.
came up to me and she said, "Hello, I'm Katie. Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Meggie." And she said, "What are you reading?" And I said, "The Thornbirds."
Which is a hidden clue to the Joanna Lumley thing, but we were not going to go there.
Right.
But also,
Oh, that's a
an
shame.
interesting fact about Girton College. So it's the first place at Cambridge to educate women. They thought we're going to try educate women. This was 1860s, 70s, something like that. But they were quite concerned that actually educating women could be a really bad idea. So they built
well,
it.
yeah,
They
give
built,
an inch, and then you end up with bloody Liz Truss, don't you?
Yeah, they built it like a bedlam. So if after 10 years it didn't work, they could just repurpose it. I think not that they use that phrase in Victorian England, or they may have done.
Right, yeah.
But bedlam leads me on quickly to the thing that, because you're a South Londoner,
Yeah.
you live in Tooting.
Yeah, I do, Tooting.
Yeah.
There's no second T.
So Little Mo had been a bit depressed, so I took her along to the darts as my +1 when Barry invited me to be his guest of honour. We could talk about that, whatever. Anyhow,
Yeah. Mhm.
so and the darts is it's life affirming. Yeah, it's the
Yes.
only sport
Yes.
where no one watches the sport, because sport isn't about watching sport. It's about that's another. The only two people watching the sport were Claire Balding and her wife, and
Well, she was at the dart.
yeah,
Oh,
but I was platinum. but
Alice, lovely Alice.
I told she doesn't like me.
But she used to live in Tooting.
Did she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alice.
but Mo
Yeah.
came up with a very good line.
Home of the shipping forecast.
Yeah, so she cheers up. Mo cheers up because the darts does that to you, yeah? And then she says, "Fat man," that's what they call me, although I'm not fat. She goes, "No, don't interrupt the anecdote." Oh, no one's listening. She says to me, she says to me, "Fat man,
Yeah.
I remember why I like the darts. It's complete Ballum." I said, "I think you meant Bedlam, but actually complete Ballum works really well." So now we're just talking about things being complete Ballum when they go a bit tits up and all over. Hanky panky. What's that word?
Yeah, well, of
used to
course,
have for that,
we
Jeffrey?
don't care for Balham and Tooting, and for very good reasons, because for many, many years now, there's been an ongoing enmity between the two regions.
Carlisle and Plymouth have scored.
Largely because they're very close to each other, but because one year, and this is like the very early 90s, the semi-finals of the World Dominoes Championship
Oh, fucking hell. Sorry.
were between Balham and Russia and Tooting and Jamaica. Balham and
Where were
Tooting,
they held? Where was it
Balham
held?
and Tooting both won.
Yeah.
Balham and Tooting both won. So they
Well, who are the Russians
they were,
playing?
in, they, were
Spassky?
in, they were in the world final, the world final of the Dominoes.
Can I ask? Is the
Tooting won.
is the Tooting
Yeah.
Dominoes team made up of what we might call sort of the Joffre Archers?
That's correct. I mean, Tooting
So
used to be.
they are Caribbean.
In the early 90s,
Yeah.
Tooting was an Irish and West Indian area of London, and
Dominoes is quite a skilled game.
it's a very skilled game,
Yeah.
but it creates long-standing enmities. And ever since they both made their way to the final and then played in that massively high-profile clash that took the Dominoes world by storm, Tooting ending up winners, there has been bad blood. Basically, the moment you make it to the Polish Centre on Balham High Road,
Is that why they had the third place playoff?
That's why I think they played the actual between Russia and Jamaica. That's when you, as far as we're concerned, become officially Balham, and that is it's a little bit like the sort of the 40-something parallel, whichever parallel it was. You cross that, you're in enemy territory.
That's Martin's territory, isn't
Yeah.
it? 40th.
Yeah, very much so. 42nd.
Back to Ho Chi Minh. Are we back to Ho Chi Minh?
Are you popular? Were you more popular north of the 40th parallel or south?
Very difficult to get audience figures from North Korea. They're very,
I'm
they
sure
keep
you've
very-
tried, Martin.
Yeah, they keep very tight-lipped about it. You know, from time to time I say, "Can you show how the radar figures are going?" Don't get it from North Korea at all.
But talking about
We've got the
They're
most.
starving. You know, we want some food.
talking about dominoes.
Yeah.
What was the greatest sports program of the 1970s? Eggy, you did an impersonation of the commentator.
It's got to be. It's got to be indoor league.
Of course, it's indoor league.
It's got to be indoor
From
league.
the Irish Centre
I
Leeds,
don't know
yeah?
what's going on out
What
there.
were the
I really
four
don't.
sports that they did, right?
They
Can you
did Skittles.
I think you'll find that a big nail needs a big hammer. I once had to ghost his column, Fred Truman.
Did you?
His brief appearance, and we
Poor
got
sod.
I was Fred Truman's ghost.
we got the Rackle Welsh story, the wedding story of the pub.
bet you did.
5 seconds in. So if them two puppies for sale, I have one with pink nose.
Okay.
Yes.
It is. We're back in the 70s.
He was very
everyone.
much unreconstructed, wasn't he, Fred? I think it's safe to say.
And Bill Bradshaw said to him, "Did you really say pass the pepper gunga din? I fucking did."
Hey up, Gungadin, bus salt.
So, okay. Have we got the four sports?
They were
Skittles. There was Yorkshire darts because they didn't have trebles. Isn't that correct?
Could be-
same as Kent. Same as
Yeah.
Kent. Same
Yeah.
as Kent.
Is that
no
same as
trebles.
Kent?
Yeah,
Really?
Kent has no trebles on dartboard.
Let me think what the others would be. Ooh.
Shove Halfpenny.
Shove Halfpenny,
Halfpenny,
yeah,
yeah,
and
Shove
that's a
Halfpenny.
great spectator sport.
And that was one of the great lines from Sid Waddell. I went to interview
You're
him.
not
after-
missing anything. There have been no goals for absolutely.
So I went to
yonks.
interview him, Jeffrey, after one of our Observer Christmas sports lunches, which used to start at 11 in the morning and end 5 the next morning, and I had to go straight to wherever. And it's in the Irish Centre. The carpets are as sticky as they are on the coach and horses. And Sid, what did he say? And I'm going to get it slightly wrong, but he said one of the funniest things he's ever heard anyone say, yeah, about the shove halfpenny while commentating. He's the Boris Spassky of the shuffling short change. And the guy said, "What seriously wasted talent, kid."
In Bomber Command in World War II, their favourite game whilst waiting to go on operations was Shove Halfpenny. And RAF,
But we used to play shove halfpenny quite a lot.
RAF
Played
Bourne,
it.
where
School.
where my father was based, he said the Shove Halfpenny was a particularly tricky game because they ran out of arrowroot in 1943.
Arrowroot?
Arrowroot is the powder you put on the Shove Halfpenny board to make
arrowroot.
arrowroot, to make the coin, the halfpenny slide along. So if you run out of it, it's like playing a modern golf course with a mashy niblick. You just can't get it to move
But also,
at all.
Did you
The
have to do
sport
the
you've
conversion as well? Because the rules we had at my school was that you had to do the usual shove halfpenny thing and
You
get down
didn't
the other
play
end.
shove halfpenny.
Yeah, we did. And then you flick it up off the end of the table. But then, because I was at a ridiculous public school, we had to pretend it was rugby rather than shove halfpenny. So the other person would have to make rugby posts.
We used to play that all
and
the
then
time.
you have to
In the pub. Yeah.
flick the ball, and then you had to hold it.
Yeah.
And then flick it through. Did you used to do that? Did you?
Oh yeah, all the
you
time.
can take someone's eye out doing that.
Yeah, it's superb, wasn't it?
Okay, but
Yeah.
you've all forgotten the sport that was the great one, rods, table football. And actually, going back to dominoes, there was two Jamaican brothers
Yeah.
were playing. Who was I can't remember it all, but anyhow, it all got a bit tasty in the final. And there was there's a wedding going on upstairs in the Irish Centre while they were broadcasting live.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as they tumbled down the stairs, a fight broke out between warring Irish families, and the Jamaicans got involved, and the whole thing was complete chaos. And
Well, that's what
ended
dominoes
with
will
Fred Truman going.
Right.
What was his sign off like?
I'll civvy.
I'll say this.
I'll
That's
civvy.
it,
yeah.
I'll civvy. Yeah.
Okay, while
You
you
can get it. You can get it on DVD if you want to, but I'm sure it's now much easier to watch on YouTube.
I just want to ask one question to both of you because
Yes. So
I
up there with wheel tappers and shunters for my 1970s
Okay,
great influences.
I had quite a long lunch on Wednesday with a complete stranger, and we're doing a sort of. He was from Canada, yeah, and I've always looked down on the Canadians, but I
yeah,
think
well, I mean,
wrongly.
honestly, just before you continue that, if he's from Canada, he must have been wearing a very small maple leaf badge
No.
somewhere on his person, at which point you hear him say something and you say, which part of the United States are you from?
We can do that
And they
joke.
go absolutely berserk.
You can do that joke, but okay, you and Martin, we're going to have the Culture World Cup, yeah? I
The
come up with
Culture World Cup.
So it's an artist, a novelist, a poet. I'll keep going. I can't remember the other two. They'll come
Yep.
to me, yeah? And in the quarterfinals, it's Canada against America. Which side are you on?
Canada, Mordechai Richler.
You're
Lovely.
playing Rickler. Well, I'm playing Saul Bellow. But who have the Americans got to beat Bellow?
Oh, you got Atwood as well, haven't you?
Yeah, but I'm
Me.
playing Bellow all day long.
Oh,
I
hang
know-
on. Can I get? I might have Gore Vidal.
Not against Bellow. It's post Second World War. Now we're in a pre-war.
Yeah, Gore
now
Vidal's
we're
post-Second
pre-war.
World War.
Yeah, I know he is, but I'm still saying you can't beat Bellow. But still, we can argue about artist. Which artist are you going for?
Well, I've got no choice. There's only Pollock.
Yeah, but better than Pollock. He was his childhood friend. He's got an exhibition at Tate Modern at the moment.
Is it Pollock?
No, it's Philip Guston, Canadian.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
no,
never heard
look
of him.
into Guston. He's better than Jackson Pollock. As he
Is he?
said, I used to call him Jack then. That's when he went by the name Jack.
Oh right, yeah.
So that's
yeah.
2-0 to Canada for me. And then we're going on to pop music. You know, you were a Radio 2 DJ, weren't you, Martin?
I was.
You
I
could have
was.
got the breakfast show. What happened there?
I could
MK
have been a
Dons have scored.
contender.
You were a contender, you just weren't
I
selected.
was good. Yes, I wasn't. selected.
Why,
I
do you
could've-
think?
That's a long and painful story,
Well, America's
which I'm not going to go into.
America's got Bob Dylan, so they're going to win that.
No,
hands
because
down.
he gets beaten by Leonard Cohen, obvs.
No,
Oh,
Dylan's
come
better
on.
than Cohen.
No,
Dylan's
no,
way better than
no,
Cohen.
No, it's not even
Oh,
a contest.
Cohen's a one-trick pony.
What?
And he's my hand. And
Okay,
lead
you-
me.
we-
There's only
okay.
one note. There's only one fucking note in a Leonard Cohen song.
Swearing. Martin, you're voting Cohen there, obviously, because you've got taste.
No, I'm voting Dylan.
Dylan,
Oh,
obviously
the vote
Dylan.
change.
And actually,
I'm
a really good game you can play is any song that's ever been done, sing it in the style of Bob Dylan, and it will always sound faintly brilliant.
Okay, so Dylan...
Literally, happy birthday to me.
Okay, Dylan and
literally any song.
Dylan and Cohen are driving along, yeah?
Yep.
They've met, yeah? And,
Yep.
Dylan, and Cohen, because he's a polite guy and a novelist and a poet of his generation.
Gosh,
He says to Bob, yeah, I quite liked Hallelujah, it's okay, you know. How long did it take you to write that? And Bob goes 15 minutes. He was just a winger, yeah? He was just a wing merchant. He says, so Dylan says, what about you, Leonard? I quite like Hallelujah. How long did that take you? 5 years. That's the difference. 15
What?
minutes
Well,
with 5 years.
So basically, you're saying it's the difference between Homer and Virgil is crap. Virgil,
You're playing on your specialist subject now,
Virgil
that's
used to
unfair.
write 2 lines a
Homer
day,
Simpson, oh no, that's
and
weak.
you end up with this drivel, the Aeneid, whereas Homer is like Bob Dylan. He's like prodigious. There's 24 books in each of his epics for a start. It's way more fun. There's a lot more.
This is a
gore.
competitor to Sky Sports Soccer Saturday, guys. You're watching it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I mean, because I have worked in broadcast radio quite a lot.
Have you?
Just wondering, yes, I'm
In
just
your
wondering
head.
where the crossover is between Philip Guston, Saul Bellow, and Homer, and what Darlington are doing.
Well, that's because you've always lacked breadth of imagination, Martin. You're very funny. You're a lovely man. Yeah?
I think all broadcasting starts somewhere. This one starts in the remove of a minor public school in the southern England.
Definitely.
What, Billy Bunter from The Remove? Who else was at school with Billy Bunter? Can you remember?
Oh,
I knew Martin would know. I was just cheering him up now with that.
God, who was in? I can't remember, but something.
No
chattered
goals in the football.
No goals. No, I can't remember. But I've still got nothing in this bloody coupon. Oh, I've got Chesterfield and Hartlepool on one line, and that's about it.
Let me check, because I think I'm doing okay.
I'm short of Gillingham in my top line, Morecambe and Bromley in my middle line, and Peterborough in my bottom line.
Guys, I only need 1 goal to go in to share the 100 quid. I need Boreham Wood.
I only need 4.
Has anyone
I need
ever been to
Forest
Boreham
Green.
Wood? Is it a
Yes,
dogging
I
venue?
have.
Is it a dogging venue?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's absolutely.
Was that where you were
yeah.
there, Daniel?
Yeah. Well, no, I was there to do a documentary on doggers.
Seriously?
No. But they are among the best documentaries you can find. Have you ever seen a documentary on doggers? I have. And
Yeah, they are very funny.
They're very, very funny because
They're quite touching.
I had to go.
Yeah.
I had to go home. I forgot my torch. It was a real error.
yeah.
You got to go tooled up. Because of course, Thetford Forest. I used to live in Norfolk for a while. That was the Wembley of dogging.
Yeah.
Stanley Collymore. So I was on the first fighting talk. Amazing.
He was a yes.
He was a
Yes.
guest. So
Was a guest. Sorry.
Yeah, it was Collymore. Kellner wasn't on it then. I
No,
actually
no.
introduced him. They were looking desperate for people, so I said, "Have you tried Martin? You know, he's all right."
Bollocks.
That's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Bollocks from Will.
No, anyhow, halfway through, so it's the first show, yeah, and it's live. No one knows what they're doing, and Johnny Vaughan's looking a bit lively, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
And we go off to Pat Murphy in Paris, doing up to the minute report on Paula Radcliffe in the marathon.
Was he was doing that, was he?
Yeah, he
wasn't.
gets everywhere.
He wasn't at Aston Villa or Birmingham.
Well, he probably
or
went back.
Nottingham,
He went
not
back.
Notts County.
I think he phoned Aston Villa in from the Eurosport with Archie
He would have done
McPherson
that.
in the booth. Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the most prodigiously amazing broadcasters.
There was nothing
I've
he
ever
couldn't
come across.
cover. He didn't need to be there.
God, no.
No,
no.
He did it all from his front row.
He's written over 30 books.
Well,
Can you
have
imagine?
you read any
I'm
of
not
them?
sure I've read 30 books, let alone written them.
Well, you've read Homer and Virgil.
Well, not all of it.
Oh, come
Only
on.
the good bits.
Anyhow, so while Pat is rather sweatily describing Paula Radcliffe in the Paris Marathon, Stanley turns around to me, and I can't do this, I didn't have a mic, and he goes like this, right, his two fists like that, and says to me, "You would, Will, wouldn't you?" I think he was suggesting...
You would what?
Well, I'm not going to say on a family show.
Right.
But he was
Is this a family show?
I don't know what show.
How many 9-year-olds are listening to this?
One family? There's one family to watch.
But it's a Norfolk family, so
It's a-
our
it's-
viewing
it's a
figures will be
fa-
higher than you get on
It's a
Talk
family that's
Sport.
currently chained to a radiator in a basement somewhere.
And the next, okay, so he said, he says to me, "You would, Will, wouldn't you?" And I say, "Stanley, it's 10:30 in the morning, please, yeah."
Yeah.
And then the next day, he's on the front page of the News of the World for dogging in Cannock Chase, which is
Wow.
completely consensual,
Yeah.
but Radio 5 being a bit priggish even then
Is
banned
that,
him.
is that a bylaw in Cannock Chase, or is it was
What?
consensual?
No, it is consent. Dogging is consensual. There's no...
Ipso facto, in Cannock Chase, if you are dogging, it's fine.
No, and there's no crime being committed when you dog. Okay, there may be public... No, because they're quite
Yeah,
shy.
I don't think there's no crime, is
No,
there?
there's no crime in dogging. There's nothing wrong with dogging.
That's another matter. But strangely enough, my only dogging story is one that I'm going to have to be very sparse with the details because a current colleague of mine, when slightly pissed one night about 2 or 3 years ago, for a laugh,
Got behind the wheel
said-
of the car and went
no,
straight off to Thetford.
She said that the reason she said that the reason why a current Australian cricketer wasn't playing was because she was taking some time off to pursue her love of dogging. Now, she'd made it up completely because she just thought it would be really funny, and this person seemed like the least likely dogger in the world. But as a rumour, it spread so much that I've found out from another colleague who's just come back from Australia that the Australian press corps now take it as read that this particular player
Hang on,
took time off to pursue dogging.
Before this name disappears up the top of the screen, Barnsley, a goal has been scored for Barnsley by Maël Durand de Givigny. What a name!
Very old South Yorkshire family.
Miners, all of them. Yeah,
Yeah, what happened to...
De Givinci.
It's the bloody Normans again.
Is it?
They leave the north alone.
What happened to piking? Do you remember when it started?
No,
It
what's
was called
piking?
Dogging and piking. I think, and then all of a sudden people dropped the players.
What was piking?
What was piking, Mark?
Matt Smith has got a
I've
hat
no
trick for
idea.
Salford for the Netherlands.
But that's like whatever happened.
Matt Smith from Doctor Who, is that?
Whatever happened to the Jutes? We're in the same area.
But it was called piking, wasn't it? I'm not
What is
imagining-
piking? What are you about? What are you talking
No,
about?
I'm interested in this. I'm interested in
I
this.
think dogging is, I think, disporting yourself in the car. Piking is watching, I think, or maybe.
There was a thing we had in the Observer Racing Diary, Tatton Corner, a reference to something called seagulling. Which, so if any of you know the
It's a family show.
if the anybody, I'll do this nicely. If anyone knows the A419 between Swindon and Cheltenham,
Of course not.
you come to the you come to the Air Balloon pub.
Air balloon. Is it called the air balloon?
The air balloon. It's on a
It's
hairpin.
gonna
On a
go
hairpin
up- go
bend.
up at any minute.
On a
Yeah.
hairpin bend, and it's just been demolished to make the road wider. But it was a famous dogging spot.
What, they dogged inside? You've
Don't-
got to
don't-
dog
don't-
outside.
don't-
It's an outdoor game.
Just wait.
Okay.
So the car park of the pub was a famous dogging spot, but apparently, if you seagulled there, the dogging is self-policing. The doggers would sit there, and maybe the pikers would tell you to go away and think again how you want to behave when you're dogging.
Well, I'm sorry. So, was seagulling or
It's
eating
leave-
chips
it-
at the same time as having
it-
sex?
Play up
it's leaving the kind of mess that a seagull might on a windscreen.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so-
it's not stealing a child's ice cream.
No.
I'm trying to envisage the circumstances in which that would happen.
Well, don't get too excited, Martin. You're a ticker and all that.
Well, if you can't get a babysitter, you've got to take the kids with you.
Do you know, I began today with a
Can we
terrible
check?
hangover, but I'm vastly revived by this conversation.
Anyhow, back in the football, someone
scored. I think Jeff Stelling gave up a little too early, didn't he? I don't think we've quite got the resources ready to take over and get into his space. I'm sad to say.
Richard Cohn, talking about ice cream, scored for Wickham, 83rd minute.
Yeah, which always has us in mind of Motti's great moment, doesn't it?
Which one?
The German footballer, who scores. The ball comes in from the right, and Germany have scored. Cunts.
No, what? No, we can't have that word. Oh no,
Stefan.
Yes,
Stefan. Yes, don't worry. Yes,
okay. I'm in the Motti coat. Let me.
Don't be
do
so
the Motti.
racist. Don't be so racist.
I'm not being racist.
You are against the Germans. They're perfectly entitled to be called.
Chris Con Clark. There's an alliterative surname.
That really is an alliterative surname.
Chris Con Clark.
Yeah, and an alliterative name
For
in
Altrincham.
its entirety.
Fourth goal. They probably won that.
He must see every email. He's CC'd.
Very, very good. You're learning here, Martin, at the feet of masters or maestros.
What am I learning?
Comedy, my
It's
friend.
unclear.
It's clear to me. That's
Well, we're coming very close to the end now.
We are
It's
close to the end,
4:52.
and normally we would now actually build up.
Well, we really need goals, don't we? We always
Well,
really
but
need
the
goals.
games
So
go
shall
on.
we reflect on what we haven't yet got? How close is someone to a full house?
I still need just Boreham Wood.
Just Boreham Wood.
Oh, and another one I've got. Oh, I've got 3 that I need now.
Oh.
Boreham Wood is a bit like Dunsinane for me, maybe. I don't know,
How
does
have
that work?
have you gone from only needing?
Because I've got 5 cards. If the Gills score, I'm in. If
Me too.
Boreham Wood score, I'm in.
Barnsley have scored.
And if
Barnsley!
Ebbsfleet score, I'm in.
I need Forest Green, Halifax Town, and Gillingham.
So
because apparently
just tell
you
me
can't
if these
fit the G in there.
if these games come up, Bolton have got another Carl Dempsey. Gillingham scored. Is that me?
Have they?
Yes.
Yes!
I've won any time full house.
I've
It's
got a
not
line.
fixed,
I've
ladies
got a
and gentlemen.
line. I've got a line. Have you got a full house?
Emmanuel Diasuruvi from Hartlepool.
Oh, no, yes, no, yes. So if Gillingham really have scored, have they scored? I can't
Yes.
see the
Yeah,
screen.
they have. Gillingham scored.
Yeah.
I'm in search of a late one from Morecambe and a late one from Bromley and a late one from Peterborough, but I have a line,
Ooh.
so I feel like I've achieved something.
Yes, I've got a line.
Can anyone
and I
pronounce
need-
that Hartlepool player? Emmanuel
Yes, you're
Yeah, it's another one that is best done in a Geordie accent.
Eggy, over to you.
Emmanuel Disarouvui.
Because I use 2 names, it makes it look like we've got 5 people in the studio. That's cheap. Manny, he's surely called Manny, but it takes a pens.
Money Disarouvui. Yep, I think you'll find. Another goal for Hartlepool and another moment
They
where
must
we can
win
think
now.
about Jeff Stelling.
Good night for good night for Jeff.
And good night from me.
Hartlepool have won, and he's not really got big competition. Perhaps.
Yeah, probably not. Derby have won, by the way. They've beaten Cheltenham 2-1. It was
Yeah.
inevitable, really, from the moment the final whistle went.
Oh dear. But has anyone actually? Can anyone recognise any of the pundits on Sky Sports Soccer?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have you seen this fellow who's on
Who's
at the
that?
moment? His logo on his jumper appears to move as he moves.
It's unlike Tony Knowles' hair. They've
say
all got
logo.
Knowles' hair.
You say logo. Are you not familiar with that
Prostate
brooch?
cancer, I think it is.
It's prostate cancer
Yes,
awareness, and it
Yeah,
really
yeah,
hasn't,
right.
and it hasn't made you any more aware.
We've been staring at it for 120 minutes. That's not working as a branding or product placement, I think it's called.
You
isn't
should
it?
have a word.
You were the ad man, weren't you? Were you an ad man, Daniel?
The king has made me aware of my prostate.
Oh yes, he
yeah.
has, and isn't it a concern? I think for everyone, and the Daily Mail were quite right to point this out, just how scary it is that both the king and
Same time.
the woman with the
Who?
dark hair.
Oh, the royal family injury crisis we
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, it's when.
Who do they bring off the bench?
Yeah, who do they bring off the bench? Because it'll have to be Andrew before
Well,
long.
well,
Or the
no-
boot room.
no
the
one-
boot room. It's Andrew in the boot room.
Bringing Andrew off the bench is a little bit like
Fergie's back
it's a
in
bit like
town.
getting
She's
Ralph.
not well. She's not well.
Is
Fergie's
Fergie
not
not
well?
well?
No, she's got.
Are
Skin
they
cancer.
dropping like
Yeah.
flies?
Yeah.
Honestly, before you know it, Ralph Milne will be brought off the bench. Possibly Manchester United's worst ever centre back.
Or maybe, talking of Ralph's, one of the great movies, King Ralph.
I quite like King Ralph in
I
a strange
think-
sort of
I
way.
like
I
that
mean,
actor.
it's best watched absolutely levered.
Probably like this show.
Wait, was that done by the same people who did The Pope
No.
Must Die?
No, that was good. Aid Edmondson was Robbie Coltrane as the Pope.
Zach's my son's best friend from school. Dad was a
It's what we call
cinematographer.
train.
Did that have a diacritical T on it to say the Pope must diet? Am I imagining that?
No, it's the diet of worms we're going down that. Which is
Well,
Luther.
if we're going to go down that path,
Martin's
can I
a bit
just say?
confused.
Can I just say that my favourite defenestration is the second defenestration
In
of Prague.
Prague.
The second defenestration. The first one, not so much, but the second one, that was a proper
My
defenestration.
travelling companion pulled the woman tried to.
What?
The woman
Who
working.
pulled off the defenestration of
No,
Prague?
no, the woman working as the front of house at the defenestration of Prague Museum. This was in 1983 before the Iron Curtain
They've got a
came
whole
down.
museum.
Well, it's a big moment.
It's only one window.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Prague.
I mean,
It's-
how much can you do on it?
It's not what it was pre-Stagnites. They didn't have a lot going on.
If they're numbering defenestrations, how many have there been since the first one, given the
I
stag
don't know.
night?
It's well,
Right.
talking of numbering. How many storms have we had this year? Have we gone through the whole alphabet?
Well, you can tell because we're up to Storm
What did
Jocelyn.
we start on though?
Well, we start with A.
What,
That's
this
how it-
year?
yes,
Every year it starts
yes,
on A.
oh
We're
my
on J.
God.
We're on J.
Oh my God! I mean, really, to God, does he not?
Storm Ken is the next
That's
one.
why there's
Storm
virtually-
10.
That's
Well,
why,
after Barbie.
that's why there's never been a Storm Xerxes, because we never get that far. The moment we do, that's the moment we know that the climate has genuinely collapsed.
I like and understand the naming convention. What I don't understand is who gets to choose, because they
I
occasionally
don't,
the curvy weather forecaster Carol
Weather
Kirkwood.
Martin's back in the
Carol
game.
Kirkwood. I was just trying to draw him back in with that phrase.
York have scored. Yep.
York.
Yeah, the abrasive drunk Carol Kirkwood. Might
I don't think you could say that.
Say this one has been named by the Portuguese weather authority. There's some bloke in the
That's
Azores, and he says there's a storm
Yeah,
coming,
Storm
and we're
Juan.
going to call this storm Facundo or whatever it happens to
Yeah.
be. So
Well, I can't
who
touch
gets
on
to
one.
choose?
Oh, hang on, Martin's going to speak. We haven't heard from the maestro.
No, you haven't. I was just going to say I got into real trouble with the missus by saying that
Again?
It was again. It was Nigella's feasts followed by Only Connect, and I said it's a real tit fest on BBC Two tonight. And
Yeah,
she
I
approved.
can see why. I sort
I
of.
see
Yeah,
why.
yeah. I'm with Janet on that one all day long. I'm sorry.
I'm with Janet on that.
Yeah,
one.
we're all with Janet.
I used to play bridge with Victoria Corin Mitchell.
Did you? And Michael Gove.
Is she
Yeah.
as good at bridge as she is at poker?
No, nothing.
She's
like
not very
it.
good
No,
at
she's
poker.
Actually, she's
She's-
actually
She
pretty.
keeps winning, doesn't she? Wins
No, it's
tournament
fixed.
points.
She's not very good at
So-
bridge. She's okay at bridge, but she's she's a bit of a.
Was she
bystander,
part of
really.
the Hendon mob?
Well, that's Barney Boatman and the Boatman brothers, whose dad was very high up in the British Communist Party.
Was that not the biggest
Yeah.
waste of time in journalism to
What,
have
sending me
that-
to Las Vegas
No,
to write 5,000
No,
words?
no, we're not talking about you. Just for a minute.
Sorry,
We-
okay.
Yes.
we're
We're
talking
not
about.
talking about you, Will.
We're talking
Right.
about actually having a column in a magazine dedicated to poker played by people in West London.
Was there?
Yeah, in the Observer Sport Monthly, they had a Victoria Corin before she became Victoria
Yeah.
Corin Mitchell.
Or Mitchell
Wrote-
Collin. Is it Colin Mitchell or
I think
Mitchell
it's
Collin?
Corin Mitchell, and she
Corin
wrote.
Mitchell.
She wrote.
Are you sure?
She wrote
Yes.
a column based around Pipe Life playing poker, and it was unbelievably dull.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is quite a dull sport.
It is a
really.
dull
I mean, if you
sport.
call it a sport, because essentially you get these cards and then you try to win with them. And the way Vicky plays,
Bridge is a
that-
much better sport.
Well, she doesn't. She never lies, so she doesn't bluff. She only plays the quality of her hand. So if you ever find yourself playing poker against Vicky, if she's betting, then she's got a good hand.
Yeah.
And if she isn't, she hasn't. And she wins that way because men are filled with testosterone and feel the need to, bluff every now and then and do stupid things. And she makes money from the stupid man dividend.
So a year ago exactly, in January, I ended up playing cards, a poker tournament involving 6 of the 7 best British players in the UK,
Oh, really?
and we were playing poker. Yeah, 64 players down in Cobham.
Chelsea's
But that was
training
after a
ground.
Chelsea training session.
Yeah.
JT,
Jesus was
Fat
in the
Frank,
house.
yeah.
Jesus was in the
What's
house.
Gus Poyet like at poker?
Pretty good actually. Uruguayans tend to be good at poker. If a Uruguayan sits down, you know that you're the mug around the table.
Is there
I
any
can tell you
wine left in that bottle, by the way? And if there is, could I possibly have it?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've got a few more goals coming. Hang on, just to see if you get a share of the 100. I won't want you to do that because you'd share it with me.
But by the way, Sky Sports seems to have left the.
No, they're just doing some ad break.
No, I don't think they are. I think what you'll find they're doing is they're going to go to a match here, and we probably need to change the channel because they've left before the end of the matches.
3 o'clock's finished. Kickoff's finished 15 minutes
Okay,
ago.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, or viewers, or viewer. Is viewers a bit confident? Listener,
Yeah, I think
viewer.
so.
There might be two.
Can we go plural? Martin, what you know about TalkSport? You know dead of night audiences. What,
Is little Mo watching? Look, I told you, it's the Women's Super League. We were on the wrong channel.
Okay, and on that bombshell, thank you very much. Keep buying your bingos cards. Keep supporting the Stroke Association. Good night, or good afternoon, or goodbye.
Oh, I was only 2 away in the end.